The 1AC was sent.
Awesome.
How many pieces of paper will you use?
For the 1, 2.
2?
I had 3.
3?
It's 1, 2, and then framing. Just let me know when you're good. Yeah, we just have stuff.
We okay?
Yeah, I'm just waiting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I need to open the document.
But did you get it?
Yeah. Alright, great.
Okay. Just want me to show it to you?
Yeah,
Because
this is
yeah.
Okay, we're good.
That's fine.
Plan the United States federal government should enter consistent with the United States by adopting federal jobs guarantee under the 22nd resilience and nevertheless session use rampant unemployment by excluding private workers from labor force that guarantees prolonged slow growth or secondary stagnation. Dot 22. That for recent recession even after unemployment rates filled with labor force participating remain depressed. More people becoming excluded permanently from labor markets. Workers have not seen enough wage increase, which explains some of the benefits of a particular line of participation. Structural shifts cannot easily explain why participation countries with higher participation have more regulated Americans are voluntarily leaving labor for supply conditions explain very little, chronically insufficient demand protocols, insufficiency of jobs, redundancy of labor keeps the wage rate lower, encourages workers to voluntarily leave given, hinders growth given, constrains jobs of wages, secular stagnation is never 11 from the pandemic is that has fallen greatly, and once they currently job gain is finally in the fall of Tertiary 18, the economy enters recession on average every 7 years with the job gain risk constraints without job gain based on certain progress that will give us account of the providing needed stabilization does not use the unemployed to stabilize inflation, but the reduce the cost of unemployment, and we job gains wages, addition ensure that all economic workers ever ask about the job gain is often flow from future as well, is taking enough productivity to overcome secular stagnation. Riddle 18. The Americans are leaving the labor force weak, job gains, stagnant wages, short-lived expansion, bubbles worse, return to secular stagnation, division, aggregate demand, created discouraged worker effect. The U.S. operated with substantial labor slack that reduces the incentive to innovate efficient cycles to minimize keeps the lower to increase aggregate demand and productivity growth and secular economic stagnation crisis that makes nuclear war proliferation, China war, and every other great power conflict more likely. Oppenheimer 21. Stagnation is the likelihood of liberal globalization, multipolarity, nationalism, define a future this looks at, and then the next recession will be particularly nasty unless governments change course radically forces act to produce geopolitical conflict that lead to World War III, lower growth, drop in losers, waste stagnation, and continue reverberate successful, continually to nuclear weapons collapse, arm control, NBT, and accelerating arms augurs badly, and global wars and existential risk inevitable unless the U.S. avoids a relative economic decline. House 20. Isolation is not an option. There's a real danger of reach. We go back to constant wars. I think we need a greater domestic base of narrow global emerging challenges like health, climate, terrorism, proliferation, Russia, Iran, Korea, China. Those are job guarantee. Job guarantee will stabilize the pleasing state needs without triggering inflation. Paul 18. A job guarantee will increase employment, selling increase resources stabilization. Job guarantee would function as a robust automatic stabilizer, maintaining employment during downturns. Ensure state governance failure since their funding is inherently constrained by the plan solves using unlimited federal funds. Carbon 20. Federal, state, and local services infrastructure at the lowest workforce levels in a half a century. A job guarantee would be increased for bargaining power. Yes, states have a weak objection to respond to economic crisis. States have nothing like the Federal Reserve to adapt their debts. That's all state governors who key to integrated emerging debt regulation. Better 22. States have later social systems committees under policy innovation. States stand to be better at calculations of support major policy actions. States have long drivers of progress and traces middle to flexibility for the U.S. innovative policy and vision, including environment and blockchain and energy that are becoming more difficult to achieve at a federal level. States without access to energy trade and technology have incentive to engage in foreign policy. States take the lead in supply chain resilience, preserve the viability of the strength of the U.S. border. Extinction. Best part 14. Emergent diversity is a unrepresented global wage biotechnology and disease geoengineering. We need to manage them globally, develop adaptive institutions. We can survive nuclear war and new technology, but greater risk for humanity. Advantage to its workers. The first scenario is agriculture jobs. The plan solves provide global recycling programs, solves regenerative industrial agriculture, water pollution from agriculture, and offenses of ocean poverty. Tertiary 22. Global recycling programs again. Save the ocean from back to the job getting good. Implement the system of fishing, ocean farming, research, reconstruction, suffer mass unemployment, global big agriculture has made abusive practices, and has wicked produce water crisis, oil erosion, antibiotics, immunology, agriculture, last one regenerative agriculture, job getting like seasons by getting and sustainable agriculture and improving U.S. soil health, supercharged agriculture, productivity, and local global food security is a very successful. Glyphosate 21. Degraded soils have reduced our risk up to 40% in the month. It was 100-year analysis found that degraded soils have 60% yields, that threatens global food security, and food insecurity goes nuclear. From 22. Hunger stumbles in the government failures of wars and refugees, economic region of the world are high risk of food failure and the conflict, future ranging from nuclear war and nuclear pollution is existential collapse associated and waste climate change. U.S. reduction by climate to confront extinction. Greg 22. There are far more worrisome climate change, nutrient pollution is a million problem runoff. Curious fertilizer, nutrient pollution induces large amounts of pollution higher than the number of dead zones as double, reducing risk factors again. The lower change of the entire brain is irreversible, causing threshold, reducing nutrient pollution in the U.S. by human to figure out a solution. Scenario 2 is unions Biden will inevitably push democratic norms globally, but a weak domestic union issue authoritarianism prevails. There are 23. Biden priorities illustrated shifts in the U.S. thinking focused on organized labor and democracies. Unions are essential democracy. We need a strong labor movement to mind in the U.S. and subset a pro-union living out of that rhetoric, meaningful action, more complicated, and embarked on a state of efforts. Unions and capacity for political change far outweigh smaller organizations. Studies of democratic decline in the West is important for the U.S. to use the cloud of economic power to support workers, and the plan is vital to resurrect unions and empower the working class. Costello 19 of sharp union means public works program come out with a counter-cycle position worker fair comparison makes little sense. Workers would be emboldened to strike the work. So if a girl job union would make mass unionization possible with a weak union movement, it's unclear how workers would have social efforts, and only job union attacks the economic beliefs at the root and inequality. Building social solidarity is key. Hook 17. A job union is controlling social safety, strengthening social solidarity, order, beliefs and inequalities, innovation, and the labor force participation is destabilized. Now, popular immunization that is the collapse of American society, only empowering unions and the working class and violent escalation. Church in 23. Public person going hotspots decline, the all the relative ways decline by immunization to show by preceded popular violence. America's current economy might regard a violent revolution, and U.S. down goes global nuclear causation. 17. So war in America, China, Russia, Korea, Iran, destroy whatever war doesn't, and a third war with nuclear powers will follow. Now is framing debates about hypothetical political action, improve capacity, motivation, and the ability to inaugurate change in the matter of human activity. League 16. Students can develop information literacy and how to make critical arguments. This experience is politically empowering students is able to recognize when information is needing. Understanding policy issue calls for contemplating a range of materials. Policy to be motivate students to go beyond basic information to achieve a more advanced level of expertise on credibility on a topic. Cultivating well-rounded gathering and recognizing how the knowledge produced in their societal have specific context information once and gather from music and materials for a task of cognitive awareness. They are engaged and informed in learning. Debate about institutional politics might seem counterintuitive, but the government has developed legal process while shared values are often quickly agreed upon. The differences are more difficult to resolve. This is why policy debate is valuably component. Even a minimal increase in technical knowledge about policies and significant increase in students' sense of self-efficacy. Though orientation of thoughts or purposes recognized moving providing a knowledge of to providing a knowledge for policy debate pedagogy leads students to know the engaged and social condition while also engaging them to apply their knowledge to the purpose of political advocacy. Policy debate learning students political advocacy to build a capacity for political using this knowledge as recent public and argument about policy changes and invite students to move on to disagreement. Now, debates of value and enrolling in agents outside of ourselves, which opens up new space for solutions-oriented practice. Debates focus on ourselves as agents of change, and as a mindset of change will never have this transformative matter. Role-playing is the only way to move forward. NGOD 18. If we're going to engage with the world in change, making it would also be important to understand the contradictions of paradoxes of our own ways of knowing, but also instead of the actual being engendered. With this way, we know that we can engage with the world without developing political issues of the world, such we can create a different system out from hot ashes of the system that hasn't yet cooled down. People want results straight away. They want to substitute a system they had something before, but that they know they control. What we need is not to replace it straight away, because we can't. We will end up reproducing the same old system, whether we like it or not. What we need to do is experimentation, this sitting at the limits of what is perceived as possible. As we know, the learning that can take place in the place through failure becomes a fertilizer for something else that happens when the ashes cool down. Failure is also success. It's a success in the terms that learning it generates. It can be tempting to conceive the systems of changing ourselves, the terms of ourselves, our communities, or even when the societies where we open up thinking about change via those who are coming next. So it opens up a different approach. I'm not saying this is going to be necessarily immediately better, but this is going to open up possibilities that are viable, but they are thinkable or unimaginable at the moment. Give me.
You ready?
I'm good.
Okay, starting now. Okay, so if the change has to be material, then how is the AFF making that material?
Let me read that card.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, my bad. Anyways, still on framework though. So planned focus in role playing, how does that change subjectivities?
Right. So first of all, we made a couple of arguments in that card and it has many warrants. One, I would say that the cards is specifically talking about how if we try to attempt to change subjectivity without changing the political system and just do reformations.
Does this assume that like every debater is going to go on to be a politician?
No.
Okay, so then what's the warrant? Like, how do you access
the card is about
solvency?
role playing and the education we generate. We have read two cards that act as an internal warrant to this. One is Leak 16 and then Andriotti 18, obviously. But both of these cards make the warrant that when students can develop literacy and also make critical arguments, that's why policy debate is critical. And then Andriotti 18 is a great card.
So you're saying that policy debate is like inherently critical?
I mean, it can be critical.
We're saying about debating about policy action.
It can make critical arguments.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're saying that. Okay, are you making a critical argument?
No.
Okay, cool.
How does your plan become global?
What's that?
We haven't made a spillover claim. Our impacts have spillover claims, but
Okay, but
not-
how? Sure. In your chaotic world,
You say on like the I don't know how to pronounce it, but you say the plan provides global recycling programs. How does it provide global recycling programs?
Well, I think what we mean by global recycling programs is just like ocean programs that go global. I mean, like the U.S. doesn't,
how
but that
can you
doesn't
ensure
mean
that it goes global?
the U.S. can go to the oceans. Like they don't need.
Okay, so you're just saying that it's like within the ocean, not like necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need
other
to win a
countries.
spillover claim. No.
Okay, cool. And how do you ensure that like unions solve any sort of like U.S. breakdown?
Well, we've read a couple of pieces of evidence that I think are really clear on this. Terror 23 specifically says how important unions are to democracy. And what was the question about why unions are important?
Well, the question is like, how do like a lack of unions cause global power war?
It's the internal link chain. I mean, the internal link is evolved around popular immersation, and that's like basically just the basis of economic inequality. So
economic inequality would cause global power war.
Well, we say that you're missing the link chain. Like we say that the unions are key to stop economic inequality. Economic inequality is key to stop American societal breakdown. And if the U.S. breaks down and goes to civil war, that civil war spills over into other countries that are like in 17 parts.
Do you want to take prep?
yeah.
Okay.
10 minutes.
Start.
No. Stopping prep at 9:20. Order's 2 off in case.
Is this done?
No.
She's just writing on the
Yeah,
time.
I'm just writing down the time. Okay, let me know when you receive it, or if you do not get it.
Yeah.
Let me download.
Okay.
One sec. Oh, you got it from Google Doc. Let me just get that out. Okay,
I'm good. Wait, Judge, are you good? Everyone's ready. Start about 5 seconds. The simulacrum of law inculcates the perfection of the necropolitical state of the total lawful imposition of control onto an unbounded space, maintaining a false distinction between law and order, which the foundation of liberal war and difference came off in Came Off 7. Hard before Dutch made to submit the skills and justice has those who suffered imperialism indicated for mission of warfare and the use of penal codes, administrative procedure, states, and military discipline is subject by means of violence made legible and legal by its own sovereign war lawfare, reduced to people to be alive, necropolitics, and a raising body count. It always seeks to launch a principle of power to watch legitimacy, to strengthen the state, the law, originates violence, and lives in the violent means legal and legal and enemy one another. Fetishism and legalities would seem to arise out of the anxieties of lawlessness, but does not explain the displacement of political and legal onto the cohorts to resolve the greater wrongs. Fetishism has nothing to do with the constitution of post-coloniality, with the growing heterodoxy, insurance appeal to alpha means of commensuration, hence for the making human rights ever more global, making authoritative discourse where all the disorder seems inevitable. The civil law presents itself as an effective weapon of everyone, which exacerbates lawful. The court has become a utopic side which human agency makes up the medium, which pursues in the fetishism of law seems over the top of life, becoming more legalistic, becoming so cultural, religious art, cultural, religious, corporate, residential communities, everything exists now in the shadow of the law. Once government or outsourcing policing, it severs the once all organizations outshadows the state by providing protection and disappearing. So justice, social order itself becomes like the hollow meal, the word of sovereignty will take to connote autonomous control over the existence of those who fall within the extension of those of them jurisdiction of some kind of law making is power making to transform itself into sovereign authority. Power demands on agriculture, legalities, all their simulacra, and the presumed universality of the legal subject is the nexus of violence and narcotics. A global drive towards peace, which is the protection of life itself, seeks to cleanse all areas of political difference. War is a central feature of the liberal encounter. Evans 10. Imposing liberalism comes at a price. Continuous war. Recourse for liberalism is underwritten by the righteous on its mission. Liberal peace predicated on the elimination of all political difference. The more peace is commanded, the more war is declared. Liberals committed to making war liberal. The stands accused for universalizing war. Liberal war become war, profoundly shaped by war. The wars are no longer benefit the possibility of victory or peace. The project becomes lethal and unending process. It is now the possible to write the global civil war. All life is openly recruited. Each crisis marks the terrain of global civil war fought between and modalities of life itself. The liberalism engaged mastery by posing questions of life and death, globally ambitious by political imperative for the unification of a species. Forms of war have always been aligned with life. Forms of life, humanity itself finds most meaningful expression through the battles waged in state policy, continuation of other means, mental modes of the 20th century warfare, not fit for the 21st century counterinsurgency. The city of humanity is waged on success humanity's political strategies from the perspectives of power, global insurgency, and global warfare to for the bi-political spoils of life, market card as spoils of life, and stability offered by liberal democratic assistance. It comes at a price. They establish conditions for long-term exploitation and genocide. The historical record of democratic intervention through the reality of sovereignty never lives up to the rhetoric. Richmond 9. Liberal peace will often remove from stabilizing society. Data shows the possibility for backsliding. Cambodia, Middle East, Syria, Lanka, Kosovo, Bosnia, and Timor-Leste attempts have been made to instill democratization of new law, neoliberal marketization. Research indicates that the constitution of liberal institution, little changes, sort of political frameworks in the post-conflict setting, reforms have been internalized. Backsliding is much of the post-conflict polities as is about peace, business, constitutions imposed with little regard to indigenous and simplistic assumptions about the universal transferability of peace. Democratization can lead to genocidal violence, rule of law, mass insecurity. The liberal framework has become the agent of a bare socioeconomic life because such states cannot complete such an open market where enforcement of weak and abuses the community to elite to control the systems that make up liberal peace. The most conflict individuals required to reform liberal peace acts such as voting, paying for taxes, engaging in the free market, expecting such internalized gains satisfied but not too free to expect this performance or way the liberal peace is virtual. The liberal peace is constructed for the benefit of the international community. Mainstream debates co-opt the requirements of emancipation, producing emancipatory form in a rhetoric forms in rhetorical terms, mark the card at rhetorical terms. Vote negative to speak death into the 1AC. You should refuse the non-committal affirmation of institutional form for an absolute departure from Western sovereignty that prioritizes necropolitical violence. Steinbeck 13. The ultimate expression of sovereignty resides in the power of dictating who may live and who must die. The corresponds with the necro-capitalism or forms of accumulation that resolve dispossession and death is objective in political Western political sciences, falling out of the significant task of providing a kind of sovereignty and sustaining for the subject behind iron colonial domination. The life is governed differs substantially from the lives of their masters or awareness of ways of being of the dying. Imposes an urgent need and approach of a notion of sovereignty that critically provides perspective to speak in the name of death, exposes the name exposes the need to speak differently from the hegemonic context as prescribes the universal speaking in death means take one's right to speak and act with kind of position regarding hegemonic reason. To speak in the name of death means to propose another counter-hegemonic story or way of thinking in which the prevailing Eurocentric rationalization of order, also an epistemologic sovereignty, or also need. I treat necropolitics as a pseudo-universal option by the propensity to claim its own universality on behalf of the anti-imperialist South. Necropolitical theory as best appeals as decolonial option by in which the South enters the profile dialogue to obey northern specific esteem if the dominant structure of knowledge communication gradually dismantled this to allow for truly emancipatory potential of theoretical propositions. Single epistemology is sufficient to cope with the numerous morality of knowledge. Epistemological pluralism is an urgent task, and the AFF, next off, climate change is not anthropocentric. It is just the extinction of humanity. Climate change is a product of white culture, which means that the extinction of minorities is means as the neutral representation of climate, making them invisible until 07. The attribution of factors driving global warming to generic human activities anthropocentric, causing the what is a misattribution in order to natural scientists. They are necessarily middle class or westernized citizens. They fall into the trap of conflating their own existential experiences. Western bourgeoisie's references to we of the horizon of humanity, this leading them in the attributed reality behavior contrast of the genre-specific West. Man, the process is now being driven by the planetary homogenized system of material polarizing a distinct man to humanity, overrepresentative of that human in both indisputable scrutinizing of the Western bourgeoisie's conception of the common good, with that every result of intolerable behaviors, activities, and continued hegemony of the bourgeoisie as a westernized transitional ruling class is the same intolerable behaviors that causes casual of climate change. Onto case framework, the plan focuses attempts to displace calculability of violence and models of changes. The plan is meant to alleviate white guilt by focusing only on a 10-second plain text, while their actions and anyone through linking their ideologies is the scholarship of the plan based in violence. You cannot ethically justify voting for the plan is a much smaller portion of the debate, less than a representation focusing exclusively on the plan limits us to the tip of the iceberg represented politically because the plan text destroys context and AFF that gives family care to women in the military so that they can fight for those who lose the word family pig because with the net benefit of reinforcing conservative values, the word pigs are worse than WEPs because they capture the whole plan requiring one card, one ranking education, and all of the ballots to vote for those who do the better debating. On advantage 1, recessions, moderate war upswings is fair, inflame them, wow, 19. Two being not simply dividing rights and recession war can cause any stage expansive crisis, reduction, recession, recovery. It's so unrealistic to assume that can occur at any particular stage. Resources required to reform was a huge country's economic depression, the economic origin of outbreak wars, the downward pressure which may exist during economic recession or economic prosperity wars, often going economic upturn which is caused by optimism in people's mind, and the plan permanently devastates the private sector, generating inflation. Zone's case IP 18, letting warming go lower than shortages and inflation. 54 million people on $15 less, all it would have the incentive to quit. Millions would end up on federal payroll. Utopians are your jobs, giving any reality jobs or how people satisfy their needs as consumers, low paid work, brewing, coffee, cleaning, cooking, hamburgers, anticipates the need for genuine demand. Federal make would crowd out many of those private sectors. Marked at private sectors.
Private sector. What card is that?
It's the plan.
Okay. Never mind. Okay.
IP.
Let's go to the anthropocide.
Yes.
What is the link? Like, you have said that neutral representations of climate. Can you tell me right now what that means?
We think that your assumption of climate change is that it affects all people, or like this utilitarian idea and argument that you want people to vote for your AFF because you say you stop this pollution and its extinction that affects everybody. And the NFODA is saying that no, it actually only...
Where nutrient pollution is really different than the type of pollution the card talks about, why is this the link to the affirmative?
Well, we think that through the plan's model of using extinction, through climate change, through pollution, and through all the impacts specific to the climate, especially on the agricultural jobs advantage, it links...
What? Where have we read a climate impact in the 1AC?
When you talk about how, like...
Food insecurity and nutrient pollution are about the soil. How is that about... This card specifically talks about things like global warming and pollution. Where does the affirmative say that we try to solve that?
We think that, like, by indicting, like, agriculture and, like, recycling programs...
Does
and
Winner
stuff
07
like that,
think that? Where do you... Can you point me to a line where he says that? Where
She
they say that?
actually-
They say that.
We think that like the same kind of like environmental existential risks that you guys indict and that Winters indicts in her.
Yeah, could
in
you
her-
point me to a line where Winter indicts that?
Sure. What I'm saying is that
Just point
they're
me to
two
a line of the
they're,
evidence.
they're on the same they exist in the same realm in which like
What
these
line
sort
are
of
you on?
existential
Why are you
these sort of
quoting the evidence?
existential. I'm not quoting the evidence.
Could you quote the evidence and show me where the line says that? Where you think you have read any line that says that any type of warming or any type of agriculture impact links to the DSAD?
Well, the card is about how, because when doing this class text, you said how the card is about climate change and impacts dealing with the environment.
So we think that by reading a card that indicts like existential
Where does it say?
impacts
Where does it say
along with the
environment, not climate? Because I'm
Listen,
reading the.
listen,
I've
if you
read the
wanna-
card and it says global warming. That's what I'm
If
asking.
you want to
for.
waste your 2AC on arguing with us over this one card, then we can come up with.
Well, it's a
more-
one card DSAD. Okay, sure.
Okay.
We'll go to the critique. What's the? Can you tell me the links to the?
Yeah, so there's the false link in the Evans card that's talking about how war, which your AFF uses war impacts
war.
of global war,
And then
econ-
can you tell me the next one? Sorry, I'm just trying to get all the links.
there's a democracy,
Which is the Richmond 9 card.
Richmond 9 card, yeah.
Can you explain that? Why is saying that democracy we saw for democracy impacts bad?
So we
One
think
is
that all the
war.
times that the U.S. has tried to move the democracy to other countries has always ended in genocide of a certain race or a certain type of people. And so, like, this idea that the U.S.
The
democracy is bad or is bad.
It's more of like a critique on democracy. as a whole.
10. Yeah, I'll go.
It's just the same donors.
Yeah, I'll have it. Stop. 7:46.
I'm sorry. So let me just send this out first because it'll take me a second. Okay.
Did you send to that?
It's all loading, so just give me a
Yeah,
second.
you're good.
Oh shoot. The format is a little bit weird. I can quickly fix it if that's okay with you guys.
That's
Would you
fine.
guys like that?
Or just send it as a Google.
Or I can wait. No. It's just I just need to F6 block a few of these things. Alright, okay, cool. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm sending it out. 2AC. 2. Alright. It is sent. Wait. Yes. Alright. Loading and send. Just let me know when y'all get it.
I got it.
Cool.
I'm opening it right now.
No worries.
It's loading.
Alright, is
Okay.
everybody good?
Yes.
Alright, then we can get this going. Okay.
What's the order?
Order is resilience, agriculture, unions, then the critique, and then the dissat.
Okay.
Okay, is anyone not ready? Judge, good.
Mm-hmm.
Right, go.
Yeah.
Recessions are inevitable. Weak job creation, wake stagnation, ensure economic downturn. The collapse is the economy. Economic collapse causes conditions and crisis accelerate that makes conflict inevitable. More dangerous, but the plan solves it. Increases both job creation wages while protecting state revenues. They're key to emerging tech regulation. Those guarantee long-term adaptability and survival against external risks like nuclear war, pandemics, and AI. On the Wednesday, one plan focuses good. I'll read my framework blog down below with our interpretation or impacts, but no link. None of their evidence is specific to a federal job guarantee. Control F tested, but it proves that the case is non-unique or inevitable. The affirmative doesn't inscribe a correct form of work, but rather gives the people the opportunity to get a job from a recession to survive and gives people aging capacity. No specific evidence to a JG means that the AFF is non-violent. Plan focus is good because fake debates aren't educational. Then I wouldn't see two. The evidence is horrible. You can't evaluate. It doesn't actually say anything. It doesn't specifically say that will happen now, but the card says later on how it concedes how economic downturn increases war in times of recession. But cross supply all of our uniqueness cards, and also the evidence is all from 2019. Dantis is from 2023. Immediately outweighs. I wouldn't see three. Plan implodes. It's wrong. A job guarantee allows the Fed to combat inflation without creating unemployment, including the private sector volatility. Federal has to do federal ability to follow and with the job guarantee. The Federal Reserve can conduct monetary policy with unemployment. The Fed employs monetary policy to reduce private investment to cool the economy. Ag. Industrial ag is unsustainable. Soil degradation, acidification, high emission, all guarantee makes essential climate extinction, the inability of the biosphere, but the plan solves it, creates global recycling programs, sustainable farming, and long-term sustainability efforts, and stabilize food production, otherwise causes regional international instability, causes war. Unions, and it's conceded. Unions. Domestic unions in the scope ensure authoritarianism prevails, but only a job guarantee can ensure unions and attack the root of inequality. But building social solidarity is key to stopping popularization from threatening to collapse American society, and only empowering unions and the working class can prevent violent escalation. It's conceded. Necropolitics. One interpretation and value the consequences of the implementation of the plan against the status quo or competitive alternative. Revert debate is a game proven by speech. Wins, losses, trophies, etc. And the negative participation with it presumes that participation within debate is a good thing. Any other interpretation is arbitrary and completely regressive because it shifts the discussion away from the content of the affirmative, which moves 8 minutes of fast speech and restarts the debate in the 1 and C. 3 impacts. A. Fairness. Moving the F forces the 2 AC debate to avoid irrelevant content that starts the F at a structural disadvantage. B. Clash their interpretation deletes F offense by shifting the terms of debate away from the substance of the 1 AC, which guarantees generic and shallow debates that turns their interpretation because deems response to shallow debates as dogmatism, which replicates the case impact. And C. Advocacy skill to have as a form of role experimentation, allowing debaters to imagine alternative futures, engage in micro-political experiment that builds commonality and collective political engagement necessary by fracturing U15. The accumulation of political role experimentation become without the implying connection. Each way makes a small of natural implication may be pairs with other activities that counteract neoliberal ideology versus communism more critical than more indigenous than has ever been to capital knows of accelerationary pressure to minorize the world reversing into neoliberal tendency to losing means from the connection is a work of time. The role preferences political experiment argues for implication of the activity which give me lunch into the intentional behavior. We are being intentionally foster micro-political movements of democratic possibilities that are really relays between rural performance and formation of political constellation. There is an urgent call to re-engage the state's activism capitalism requires state of energy and refusal to cede hegemony to new liberal markets, building capacity for self-organization, self-application to emerge to counter the machine is consuming the plan. The institution of states as regards to perspective of individuality is the repeated and consistent alternative features that we strengthen our capacity for performing productive micropolitics and present our impact in beauty, imagining agency in terms of the more future generations when one of the biggest downfalls is imperative to change the reaction mode of existence. 2 case always A magnitude cognitive devices means you can't understand the scope of infinite future generation. B, it's reversible, no value to life without it in the first place. Every human dying outweighs a risk of reformal impact proves the half is a good idea. 3, thesis is wrong. 8, 5 hours inevitable in the hours use of it is good. Their critique allows the private sector to assert a more destructive role, form of control. Water 17. An appreciative government, it provides income, food, and education, housing, healthcare, insurance, and clean air, water, and food. It supplies infrastructure, is distracting a giant broad conservative commentators, promoted anti-government attitudes, of many types of democratic shift, all threatening the exercise powers necessary and unavoidable in complex society powers. Is exercised in the private sector, not only in the government, hyper-awareness of government powers, like key attribute, responsive accountability powers, scrutinize, making it accountable. Any government is multifaceted, it's difficult to generalize, meaningless, to pronounce legal statements about the government. B, engaging state is productive, that means state discussion of fiat or valuable status is inevitable and innovative engagement can redirect power for emancipation. We are in verse 13. The state offers the power of destruction against resistance struggles, monopolistically, monolithism, part with all this activist work, economic relations. The state always provides an outside resistant hegemonic or radical democracies towards more democratic articulations, even as a form of inequality, members and liberalism possibilities for a system because of its eternal contradiction engages the state to facilitate yet rhetorically reject the state activism market. I won't read the rest of the card marked there. 4, no link. Oh, I already read the no link card up ahead, but A, warning. Nuclear weapons and role of impacts outweigh the K and flip 4, 11. Nuclear weapons existential questions about civilization, not at least on main. Morally, the computational power technology of the impact to destroy humanity. Weapons do not menace the survival of humanity is irrelevant whether possession is unfairly distributed and its solution to balance of fair and a fair outcome is offshores and perfectly constituting lessons of deliberately are more important than the symmetry distribution. The moral case for non-proliferation during equality. Obviously, we lose our moral bearings if we allow unfairness arguments and distract us from what is really important for subject to outcomes in the environment. B, international law and democratic norms is effective. The half-signal approach is the best of or meditating and legal manipulability. Causes 7. It is important not to generalize this kind of structural things cannot be the law, cannot be the solution independent, but should not be least to the disregard of importance of law and the international system legal and peace rewards impossible and necessary is better to use legal to the more rules will be effective all the legal laws cannot be resolved for there will be room for manipulation and approach. Mark the card there. 5, printing both shields. The link if our policy is contentionally good, then alternative that reviews the violations and review resolves the effects in the link in that include the 6, no impact. A, extinction impact is wrong. Well, since that the political effects special is now, but now was 23 years ago. I mean, the half easily always in time, and then B, every impacted claim is too rigid. Good stuff over 14. They've been regazed over rigid regime of our the image rules out democratic response sovereignty. The second information people's power remains a variable. The surviving subjects of politics reveals in terms of political games actually being played out. Official cycle of self-fulfilling prophecies in the summer of 2011 witness unrepresentativism of the democratic agency relying on any totalistic power power. Skip 7, go to 8. No, all solvency, A ballots. No one changed up because either other teams lost around the case, so did they, which didn't deter them from reading either reserves. It's a true B, all fails. Debate doesn't shift our subjectivity. All causes like parent, school, religion, the internet, all thumbs. Solvency, C, vague alts are voting issue. D, they're responsible for matching up the scope of all solvency with the scopes of impact being used. Philosophers observe Fiscal 19. Suffocated the research for achievable and supporting possibilities. Alternative requires conciliarity. In reality, you can do in regards to the necessary is secondary priority. The practical theory as quickly as possible. Maintain practically critical theories, research and understanding consequences and policy frameworks. Mark the card there. Go to D. D results in state options. Sabotage. Script 17. Tactics make us feel better than not active tactics. Be the conflict. This day have learned the political judo. There may many accounts of the FBI sending agents to provoke organization with the purpose of dividing, disrupting, and discrediting them. Mark the card there. I'll go to the anthropology to sad. 1, no link. They couldn't point out one line where the card talks about agriculture representations, about global warming. The app doesn't make a claim we solve for warming. 2, case always grade 22 is great on this. He specifically states there are 2 boundaries far more worrisome than climate change: nutrient pollution. 3, nutrient pollution is a marine problem, not global warming, but the loss of biodiversity. I mean, that does not lead to extinction for minorities, but extinction for everyone. Then 3, link turn. The union scenario independently solves for minority turns that is that as it attacks the root of inequality, which means that it's try or die for the app. The fact that they could drop unions mean we just have to win it solves it is that. And then 4, even if we somehow manage to win that the climate optimism is good, the app does that. Only specific policy proposals overcome the charge lobby. Spend 21 possibly the lobbies is powerful innovation has opened the door to the emission-free culture activism will need to push it through very winnable battle and lead to embrace the legitimology on the activist side and political power fundamentally beatable and sensitive capitalism is more people than you could convert activists to deliver a positive message. Well, climate change is beatable. 5, if we win this, it's offense sustainability only possible with the commitment to innovation. The innovation scenario is the only way that's all have solved. Call for 22. Argument will run out of resources, but prediction of catastrophic will never come true. Temporary decline. Ultimately, no such thing as a natural resource. All resources are artificial products of technology, multiplied on activity. They won't run out of resources. We keep generating new ideas. Even as ideas that get harder to find, be better at finding more brains and more investment, more productive. That's a preempt to the new links in the block. But the thing is, we aren't climate. It literally doesn't matter. I don't know why they read this. Okay. Water. I'm sorry. All right, I'm good.
Okay. Starting now on the case page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think case page. Your Martin and Pearson card talks about using.
Wait, is this from the?
Was it? Because I didn't hear the when it switched to Necro, but it may be on the Necro.
Okay.
The Martin and Peel's card.
Wait, oh yeah, okay, that's on the Necro page.
Okay, then okay. So
Want
on
me to
that,
explain it?
no, I was just saying on that card, the tagline talks about emancipation. Who's getting emancipated? Who's emancipating?
Well, that's not the main idea of the card. Like, I think you're getting a little bit distracted. The main idea is that engaging the state is productive because these discussions of VIA are valuable, right? Martin in Piece 13 is super specific on how the state offers a complex power structures against in which resistance struggles and that they're always present and that in laws, the activists can achieve rework economic relations. So just like dissecting that down, I guess.
Okay, that's cool.
All right, okay.
How does a permutation help you when the negs all is to like reject the AF?
Well,
really
no,
quick, we think that. Sorry.
No, it's just we're saying that if our policy is contingently good and the alternative that refuses biopolitical systems can resolve the effects of the link and then include the app. So you can still refuse
Refuse the AF though, like.
Okay,
we think
yeah.
that rejection looks different in different ways.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Okay. How does the plan? What do global recycling places look like? Like when
sorry. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, I think our 1AC, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? I can go down the 1AC evidence here on this scenario if you want me to, but, like, I don't know. Wait, what's the question? Sorry. I didn't let you finish.
How, like, what would it look like in another country, assuming in the field?
Okay, well, alright. The job guarantee can implement sustainable fishing, regenerative ocean farming, reef reconstruction, coastal communities.
So are you just saying that like other people besides the U.S. would be inspired by them?
I mean, we can go to oceans and stuff like that. Like, it's not like there's any like we can help like oceans and like that is what we define as global recycling.
Just about oceans though? Is it about people?
It's not a spillover claim.
Exactly.
The
It's
job
not
guarantee doesn't
wait,
spill over.
if you're getting confused about that, it's not a spillover claim. We're just going to different oceans and we're quoting it as global. That's what Tacherna 22 is specifically saying. Like, don't take it like literally that we're going to different countries, right? Like, that's not what we're trying to say.
What?
Okay, so you say that like the DISA doesn't apply, but also on your hold on, let me pull it up so I can cite it directly. On your agricultural
Just
card-
quickly, you can finish the question and
sure?
I'll answer it. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Your time is over.
Let me find it. On the ag stuff, you say that like high emissions guarantee essential climate extinction, but you also say that like you don't add like
right. The specific card that we're solving for is Craig 22. It's I don't know if you sent out the rehighlight, but we've said that there are two boundaries far more worrisome than climate change. We're saying it's more worrisome, and that is nutrient pollution. That's not climate. Craig says that. Okay. Cool.
10 minutes? No, we have 9:20. Starting now. it was in there. $444 remaining.
Okay. I am gonna send out, I think, a card is all I have. So I'm just gonna send out in the body of the email if everyone's okay with that.
Oh, what's the order?
It's gonna be K.
Is there a specific order to the K, like framework?
It's gonna be overview, then framework, impacts. I'll signpost as I go.
Sounds good.
Okay, I sent the cards in the body of the email. Let me know where you get it.
It's just
Cards. Okay, are you all ready?
okay.
I got it. You just put it in the
In the body.
Yep.
Yep.
Alright, so we should be good.
Cool. I'm starting now. The AFF economic reform satiates a more liberalized economic system and is just as violent as it would be prior to the reform, which props up the illusion of progress under the simple curl of law and invests in the punitive status quo punishments. The impact is violent necropolitical progressivism. The economy is a death growth, the machination of the social death that is characterized through prolonged exposure to violence, like extreme poverty, oppression of the upper classes, unfair laws due to corporation lobbying. It is a massive steamroller that disenfranchises populations, poor people of color, people with disabilities, queer populations are disproportionately flattened by and slowly wears away human vitality and reduces the human experience to a bleak existence. It shows their solvency burdens for beyond mere reform. This devastates solvency and destroys the misidentifying the functioning of their economy and their state. It is not restricted to any disciplinary institution, rather it seeps throughout all of society to diffuse the network of control that legally sanctions like social and economic abandonment. Even if people work 3 jobs, they still might not make enough to support themselves because of other factors that have disadvantaged them. As cruel optimism to set to any ethical reason to vote affirmative. This is a framing issue that guides how you filter the solvency. Along with every answer, they make the law preserve itself by accepting just enough transformation to stabilize status quo. If we win the economy and state are structurally oriented towards violence and social death, and the federal federal jobs guarantee will only work to reinforce it, not complement abolitionist alternatives. Only understanding out of the South refuses self-other dichotomies can resolve violent imposition of the liberal subject onto otherwise populations. This turns all of their offense onto framework. First, counterattack, they must prove the epistemological and methodological justification behind their speech act before getting to weigh the alternative that's best. A, fairness, we need to question fairness for who black people are typically excluded from their interpret procedural fairness, which is also better for skills to be clash to Oliver links, engage on the AFF on an impact level. Second, Gurel Rooms and decide the plan focus on the debate to a simple question of federal jobs guarantee engagement, or whether or not to make self-congratulatory system or debating saying that they have done something by realizing that the school is sometimes bad, that siphons individual energy to benefit the school imperialism by fostering liberal subjecthood and capable of purging itself of anxiety and calling on institutions the effective economy of debate. Third, they don't address the violent underside of their war-motivated politics, absent interrogation of sovereignty reticence within your legal framework. A corrupted decision-making process ensures the maintenance of the state of exception and the endless necropolitical violence for those who fall outside of the normative conceptions of personhood. Method 3. Under what conditions is the right to kill exercise? Who is the subject? What is the implementation of the political the guides of under the guise of war makes murder as objective? To answer these questions draws on the concept of biopower and exploits its relation to sovereignty. The state of exception it requires permanent spatial agreement to that remains to continue outside of the normal state of law, and the distinction between the reason and unreason. Modern criticism has been able to articulate this certain idea of figures of sovereignty generalize its instrumentalization of the material destruction of populations. Such figures constitute the political space in which we live. A human experience is a human destruction. To develop a reading of politics different from modernity. Instead, we can look at the foundational categories that are less tactile, such as life and death, onto plan focus. Play focus attempts to displace culpability for violent models of change is a move to alleviate white guilt by focusing only a 10-second plain text, which means that they never have to defend underlying justifications for their actions. Any risk of linking these ideologies, their scholarship, they are based on violent and you can not ethically justify voting for it. Onto the alternative. The alternative to speak with death. The alternative as it stands is a negligent of its underpinnings, preserving an exclusively hegemonic self-serving context that only confirms their every off-ballot for its mode of study dependent on analyzing specific points of contact with in a necropolitical state. Their method for is a status epistemology that only rearranges and coordinates of violence without solving for the logistics undergirding the violence. And the alternative is not better for insofar as that results in epistemological that prioritizes the lives due to imperial colonization. We do this by interrogating the one I see along with its epistemological underpinnings and overcorrecting for the epistemological flaws that the AFF has, situating within a historical legacy of imperialism, colonialism, and anti-blackness, parts from the hegemonic narratives of teleological progress that reproduce precarity on the global scale, which creates a space for alternative ways of doing politics. You should weigh the alternative as a way of looking for from the outside inwards. Remember that we can only exist to confirm their biases. American authors are more biased towards hegemony because they have no framework to view it through. So the judge should filter hegemony through the necropolitical order. They need to give epistemological priority to the author writing from a different subject location. Onto the all doesn't solve. We must challenge the background of political judgment about why to restrain the executive centralizing power in the hands of the militaristic elites is inevitable without systemic challenges to underlying assumption that national security is a primary policy-making value. That's wrong. We should frame the question of executive power in terms of racialized harm and authorization, refusing accommodation with the values of the security state as a precondition for preventing racialized hierarchy. Just read that card as an analytic, read the tag as an analytic. Legal restriction and acts of politics and subordination pursues protection for otherwise groups. National security frame treats safety is a paramount virtue. There's a difference between saying racism is moral and wrong and arguing the Brown v. Board is important because it helped give the U.S. credibility to win the Cold War. Spillover from criticism empirically proven the role of the judge should be an intellectual whose goal is to destabilize the security regimes through critical interrogation within the status quo. Jones 99, the central political task of the intellectuals to undermine prevailing discourses is accomplished through education. History furnishes examples of progressive developments that have been influenced by intellectuals outside of the bounds of a particular structure. Critical security studies illustrate that the ideas are important. The ideas of intellectuals drew from strength from peace activism. They had an effect on the short-term policy, but also on the dominant discourse of security. Important in the long run, intellectuals take advantage of the public pressure exerted from social movements to gain acceptance of for security. Similar pressures had an effect on Reagan. The American peace movement did have a substantial impact on U.S. behavior. The coterie of Soviet political analysis were drawn towards common security. This group influenced Gorbachev. The Soviets' commitment to the security led to significant changes in force. Mark the card at force. Onto the perms. Top level first, perms are either the severance or intrinsic, and that's a vote for fairness that makes it impossible to go down because they can infinitely shift their advocacy around negative strategy. Second, links kill their perms. We say law bad, they use the law. Any inclusion of the state is a philosophical nonsense. The third, even if they win the possibility of a perm, you should reject it. Best for clash fourth, this debate is about competing methods to resolve violence, even if they win the logical theoretical legitimacy of the perm. You should only evaluate singular strategies. Look, it's a rejection alt. You can't perm a rejection alt because it's obviously mutually exclusive. If we're saying reject the AF, vote neg. Onto the invisibility dissad, they added the approaches to just gloss over the capacity of abolitionist futures in favor of preserving the legitimacy of the current economy. That alone turns case and means that the perm fails. The perm is the link. It's just another superficial tweet that situates the debate on the margins of the problem rather than interrogating why there are calls for economic reforms and environmental justice and union reforms in the first place. On to impacts on extinction. Don't get to weigh extinction if we win the framework debate because it's about scholarship and not the audit implications. Even if they get to weigh their politics, it produces extinction, which was the link debate, which I'll do below. The AF produces more militarization and imperial intervention through the investment in humanitarianism, which is isolated as the root cause of their argument. The AF makes things worse. First, the AF libidinally invests in governance and demarcation of some modes of being as undesirable, which is a uniquely violent thing and a reason to vote neg. Second, it doesn't matter if the AF increases or decreases good things. The ballot is just a referendum on scholarship, just the same way the ballot doesn't resolve extinction. The ballot doesn't resolve our impacts either. It's just a question of best debating and best scholarship. On the link debate, their denial of the link is the ideological cornerstone of imperialism and exceptionalism. And this results in first, the disavowal of the U.S. being subject to empire's shortcomings. Its inevitable instability created by a permanent war against difference. That was the first link that we read in the 1NC, because it talks about how the U.S. always has a drive to create war. The necropolitical state will always have a drive to create more war. So even if they can win that, our ideologically in a vacuum are a good idea, they ignore the root causes of all of their other impacts, which means that they will only continue to recreate it, which is the link. Second, it creates the impression that the empire is beyond morality. So all violence that the 1NC results in is seen as anything but the violence of the empire because of the myth of democracy within the United States. That's the second link. We don't think that they have any sort of democracy. That also means that we don't think that the state is good. We don't think that the law is good because they are so rooted in violence. Okay, I'm open for toss.
Alright, okay. TA is on for everyone?
I decided on
Just
K.
top, yeah.
My disads, what you want to know what my disads on
Yeah,
framework are?
Just all your
all
dissad.
Oh, yes. So we read a cruel optimism
Got that
dissad
one, yeah.
on framework. Do you want me to repeat that?
No, I got that one.
Okay, we read there was another dissad. It was on the perms. It was the invisibility dissad.
Can you explain that?
Sure. So we're talking about how where you try to add in your own method or try to co-opt our movement turns case because
But if we do the
Okay.
movement,
we think that it turns case because it shows that how the necropolitical state will always co-opt abolitionist movements.
Alright, okay. And then any more?
I think that was all of the disads that
Alright,
I had.
Okay.
and then links
And then
were
Sure.
just the same two
the
from
same
the
two
1NC.
link from the one.
The same two from the 1NC.
Alright, okay, cool. Alright, so proper now. Why doesn't the case outweigh the critique?
So we think that because the case doesn't interrogate the root causes of your impacts, such as anti-blackness, larger climate inequality,
Okay, so
U.S.
I guess,
hegemony, imperialism, stuff like that, because it doesn't
So-
interrogate those root causes, it cannot solve for its.
Alright, okay, that's fine, I guess, right? But
Sure.
if we prove we've read extinction impacts, right? So if we prove that extinction outweighs the impacts that the critique has read, does that mean the affirmative wins?
We think that the critique controls the direction of the AF's impacts because
what is
we're winning the root cause debate. So the critique serves as an entire case turn because we say that you don't recognize the root cause. The necropolitical state is in all of its machinations of power are the root cause, and because you can't address
Okay,
those, and
right.
because you gloss over them and try to do your little liberalist reform, we think that
Right.
doesn't get to the
So
root
at
cause.
this state roots cause thing though, right? Is that the argument that the state isn't productive, I guess? Is that what you're trying to say here?
Not necessarily that the state isn't productive. Rather, we think that the state is violent and will always seek
Alright.
to oppress marginalized groups.
But it's about the state. Okay, cool. Alright, just wanted
Sure,
to make
it's a larger state boundary.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. On the alternative, can you explain how it solves?
Sure. So the alternative is to speak death into the 1AC. It's
Right.
it's a rejection and also abolitionist alternative. So it's not
Okay.
just rejection. It also calls for a complete abolition
Okay,
of the
just quickly.
necropolitical state.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's fine. But why can't we perm the critique?
We think
Like,
that
I understand it's refusal, but like, why does that mean we still can't perm it? I don't understand.
sure. So we think that like we read like some like little like procedural stuff about how like it's bad for fairness and
Wait, is that fairness stuff a reason to reject the perm?
yes,
Okay, not the audience, or not the team, right?
not the team, just
Yeah,
the firm.
just the perm. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna try to send out the cards. In order
Did you?
to now.
Yeah, mine did too.
Okay.
What's the
It's just
order?
gonna be DA in case.
Okay, cool.
We'll be able to get through.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good. Anything I didn't will fix in between. Yeah, my Wi-Fi went out. Do you want to try using my hotspot if I have
Yeah.
no bars? Okay, I've got 2, so it might work. Is the Wi-Fi working for you?
I'm on my own hotspot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I also want.
It's working for me.
Okay.
The Wi-Fi is. What's the name of it?
Lunch. Is it showing off yet?
No.
Okay, no try. Is it working?
So what's going on? The Wi-Fi?
The Wi-
The
Yeah.
Wi-Fi went out.
My Wi-Fi was.
So we're trying to connect to my
you want to
hotspot.
try it here?
I'm gonna have to restart my computer because it does this a lot.
You want to try
Do you want to read it off mine?
Yeah, because I only have 2 cards. So if
Okay,
Yeah, why
I
don't you
can-
just read it off first?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and I'll connect to my hotspot really quick.
All right, thanks.
Because it'll
it's
be
just,
a lot-
I just want to get the round going.
No, I understand. I think we all want to get out of
Yeah,
here.
right? Big day tomorrow.
Okay. Did you send it to me?
Yes, I sent it to you. Yes, I think I did.
Yep. And you want me to send out the cards really quick?
Yes.
Okay.
Or you could just send out a doc, honestly.
I'll just send out. Okay.
Because it's 2 cards.
Let's see. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I just sent out the cards.
Thank you. Wait, let me know when you all get the cards.
Okay.
I haven't got it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let me know when you all get them.
Yeah. Let me just read. Oh, yeah. I think I got. Yeah. Okay.
One second. My Wi-Fi's being really slow.
Just give me a second. I just keep getting through this.
Yeah, that was going on with me too. It didn't load.
Yeah, I had like this trying connecting problem. and it wasn't
I
working.
could just open it up on my phone. It's not bad. 1 second.
Yeah.
Did you send it in the body of the email?
Did you send the
Yeah, because it's just 2 cards, and I didn't feel like downloading. My bad.
It's okay.
I connected your computer to my hotspot, so you can.
Oh,
Yeah. All right, it went through. It's just 2 cards. We gotta get going.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay. Starting now. That didn't start. On solvency, federal job guarantee is counterproductive. It kills motivation to work efficiency. Standing 19. Many reasons before refusing job, accepting a job with lower person qualification or lower income status for the long term job guarantee would be recipe for perpetuating low productivity. Those calling for job guarantee also ignore the fact that the market economy requires some unemployment globally. If only 15% of workers are engaged by their job in no other country did the figure exceed 40%. The job guarantee proposal fails to recognize that today's crisis is structural and no solvency skills mismatch and logistical holders been already 19. There are over 7 million open 7 million open jobs and 6 million unemployed people. People don't have the right mix of skills in training, childcare, transportation, and other struggles with addiction. The federal job guarantee doesn't address any of this. Also, on the union's advantage, unions have a history of being stopped by the government. The AFF provides no protection for those who may want to go on strikes or a picket line. These people would be fired or without protections, the app increases inequality because the people who want to change the jobs wouldn't be able to change them, which means the jobs would continually be bad. Working environments have unfair labor laws, or the way that the bosses may be employing what the bosses are doing in the jobs, or whatever the people didn't like or what they were striking against will never be fixed because the app provides no mechanisms or ways to hold people accountable and accountability mechanisms. On resilience, extinction is inevitable, and the app has bad faith with the government that it will change its structure for extinction, and nothing that the government has done so far, even if it has done something with the economy or with fiscal redistribution, hasn't changed the way that extinction is still happening. Like they say that we're going towards extinction because of war. There are many wars going on right now, and we haven't all died yet. They also have no timeline for when extinction is going to happen or when these wars will happen within the time frame of the AFF or the fiat plan of the AFF. They say that and then on the DA, cross-apply the agricultural stuff with the DA that says minorities would get left behind in the climate initiatives from the 1AC jobs guarantee. Coastal countries around West Africa experience soil degradation, all of the things they said within the 2AC within the agriculture advantage block section would at the experiences those things at a higher advantage in coastal countries around that aren't the ones producing aren't the ones producing fossil fuels that make climate change worse or experiencing them at a higher rate. And the U.S. government doesn't care about those countries, and they're only caring about some people within the state. And so they haven't changed the way they work. A federal job guarantee would continue Western logic, ignoring the needs of minorities. The U.S. also continues to build factories in neighborhoods that primarily minority people live in. And so it shows this continual faith within the government doesn't actually lead to anything good happening for these people that they're saying they're giving jobs to. So that an app actually just produces bad places for people to live in and bad health, which is actually links to the cool optimism we said before. The government hasn't made any laws that change traditional dangerous living areas like Asma Alley, which has not been addressed, and then the federal jobs guarantee is not focused specifically on addressing. Not addressing climate change. The unions aren't back to unions. The unions aren't protected. Even in recent years, there have been many disputes over legitimacy of unions, like with Starbucks and the railroads. Even if they claim to solve for this, they can't confront the root cause of why unions need to rally together, which is in necropolitics, because the whole point of necropolitics is that the government, not only that the government is bad, but this continual faith in the government, thinking that it will get better over time, or if we invest a little bit more, if we propose a different plan, the government will change its ways and actually start caring for things that matter. It's bad and false, and we've proven that through the 1NC and how that the government continues to not do the things that people actually care about, which is why another reason why the AFF can't solve any of its impact of extinction or any of its impacts of global war or the climate stuff that they talk about. And they said that on Winter's card didn't talk about climate, but we have specific texts within that say that global climate, that talk about the global climate, which relates directly to their app because they have their agricultural advantage in their 1AC, says that they're creating agricultural jobs for these people. And they also have they never said how much they're paying people within the jobs, which is a separate thing. And so then if they have no stasis point of how they're paying people, then that's also bad because that means they can pay them any amount, even if it was below minimum wage, which is bad. Yes. Thank you.
7:46. Your computer is connected to my house.
7:40. Starting now.
I'm going to the restroom.
Okay.
Stop time. That's 2:28. Okay, I think I see your edits now.
Yeah, just scroll down.
Do you have any comments? Super crap. Alright, stop time. That was 4 seconds. It's 1, 2. So econ, then workers.
Okay.
The critique in the order of framework, weighing, thesis, link debate, perm debate, impact debate, alt debate. I don't know if that helps or not. We
No,
just
you don't have to do that.
Yeah, okay,
Whenever
okay,
it
so-
flows around, you're good.
and then the disad.
Okay.
Good.
Yep.
Recessions are inevitable, weak job creation, waste stagnation, short economic growth downturns, that collapses the economy, economic collapse causes exchange crisis, accelerating that makes conflicts inevitable and more dangerous, but the plan solves the increases job creation waste while protecting state revenues that are key to emerging tech regulation. The rules guarantee long-term adaptability and survival against existential risks like nuclear war, pandemics, and AI. Now they said that no motivation, yes motivation. Now our Dante's evidence says that in times there are high application for job because employment due to motivation for a job. Our evidence is from 2023, and it is predictive. Now, on skills mismatch, no wrong. The job guarantee has very simple jobs that do not require high-level training or degree programs like not contract tracing, but global recycling programs are simple jobs that the AFF specified wouldn't need training. That they say that extension is inevitable. Wrong, though. Without a job, federal jobs guarantee extension is inevitable. The only way that we can stop extension is through a job guarantee. That's the internal linking explained on the econ. But now they say that there's no amount of play. This argument has no correlation to the debate on why do we need to specify the amount of debate. It's a counter-cyclical budget which solves it, but even then it's normal means. Now, plan estimates private sector. No, the plan wrong. The job guarantee would allow the Fed to combat inflation without creating unemployment, including the private sector. That's Paul 18 from the 2AC who tells you that the Fed can be better with the job guarantee. Now on ag, the industrial ag is unsustainable. Industrial. Should I skip ag?
No, you have to respond.
Industrial ag is social degradation.
Extend it, just respond.
Go to the countries won't get left behind. A strong job guarantee wouldn't leave other countries behind. They can adapt it, but we have proposals that would solve. We don't need other countries to follow along. Now on unions,
They didn't extend the disad, so no.
they didn't extend to the disad, no link. Now on the necropolitics critique, top level vague also a voting issue. Reject the team that killed fairness by making perms impossible and killing advocacy bills because they wouldn't have to thoroughly defend a position. It was in the 2AC. It's dropped. Means that reject the K at least. Now before I do framework on framework, they say corrupted decision making process. However, no, we still get to weigh the AFF, which means that there's no link on why it's corrupted. Now on Jones 99 goes AFF. It talks about stopping securitization, but the only way to stop that if it's not a threat, that's econ. Now the role of the judges to vote to the team that can solve for their impacts. There's no reason why the alternative can actually solve for the impacts that it discusses about minorities. Now on the cruel optimism disad, it's wrong. Engaging in the state is productive. It means discussion of field our valuable statism is inevitable and involving engagement and can redirect power of emancipation. That's Marianne Piercy 13. Now on the then we just have to win that state can be good. Now on the admissibility disad, we aren't replacing the alternative but cooperating it and doing both turns to disad because it shows that we are engaging in minorities. Now the interpretation is evaluate the consequences of the implementation of the plan through the status quo or a competitive alternative. Now they have dropped 2 standards on the first. I'll go on the counter interpretation. It shifts the discussion away from the content of the affirmative. There's the counter interpretation does not access any of the impact. Now plan focus is good. They extend it from the 2AC because none of their evidence is specific to a job guarantee. But then I'll go for the clash, which is turns because of dogmatism. It replicates the case impact because the interpretation deletes AFF offense by shifting the terms of debate away from the substance of the 1AC, which guarantees generic and shallow debates. Cold conceded, which means that we can win on that. Now advocacy skills, it's role experimentation. That's all of Andreotti 18, which and E 15, which means that advocacy skills mean that we can reform the state. Now go to thesis. Now they have conceded. We just have to win that the state can be good, and that's Andreotti in 18 and League 16, which means that we have to just change the political system because Andreotti says you can't actually change the state unless we are involved in the state. Now thesis is wrong. Biopower is inevitable, and the AFF.
Move on to the no.
And go to the no link. they don't address that the violent. Yes, we do a few things. We tell you that nuclear introduction existential questions about civilizations when utterly prompt. That means that it flips it because who's going to be protected from nuclear war? White rich people or minorities? Now, international law and democratic norms is effective because the importance of law, which means that it stops things from all like authoritarianism that's on the link. Now, on the permutation, no, it's not rejection. We aren't rejecting the 1AC, but it's not mutually exclusive because rejecting can look different in different ways, which means that we just have to win that the AFF can be good. Now, on the impact extinction is wrong. Wilson says that the political existentialism is now and every impact is too rigid. That's keep so 14. Now, on the alt. There's no alt solvency because the ballots don't shade subjectivity. That goes drop there. Other teams lose rounds on the K, and so did they, which means that they didn't deter them from reading the K. Now back on the impact, the social death impact is wrong. It never spills up and wreaks a very impact, which means that you can't access it, and it's very vague. Now they are responsible for now go back to the alt. They're responsible for being matching the alt solvency with the scope of their impacts. Their authors preserve. Now they say being American. Bisco 19 is not American, but talks about how the alt solvency will never be. Now on the anthropology, they said they have not established a link, but then even then they haven't responded to Smith 21, who tells you that climate optimism is intrinsically good.
Five?
Did we have less than 5? Because I did not write down no, that's is 5 minutes okay?
Whatever
Is it
you
not
all, I mean, I was in.
Yeah,
about
'cause I didn't
12
think-
games or taking-
Well, it's not.
Is it not 620?
Wait,
No,
how much
it's
rep
less
did you use for the 2 and C?
I don't remember, that's what I'm saying. But I know it was less than 5. It was either 5
It
or
was.
less
It
than
was.
5.
I remember. It was 4:45.
Okay, 4:45.
And you have like what 3 minutes left.
We have 3? Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's fine.
Starting.
No.
Yes. It's gonna be Kaylin Case. Oh, you already put it. Okay. Starting now. Our theory of power is the necropolitical order. We think that the state is fundamentally bad and will always act in order to subject disadvantaged populations towards violence. They have not been able to offer an alternative theory of power to explain state violence. They've only said that state is good. We have proven that it is bad. This is insufficient to explain our theory of power. On to framework. The role of the judge is to vote for the person who does the better debating. They agree with us. They say role of the judge is to solve for the team that solves better. We also solve better too because we are winning the root cause claim. We can solve for their impacts. They cannot solve for their impacts because we have proven that the state is bad again and again. It only acts to serve itself. Even if they can win that their idea is good in a vacuum, they cannot account for the large machinations of violence and power that are enacted on oppressed people. They also... We did not drop Clash. I extended the Clash under, it was right before the cruel optimism disad. We say that the links engage the AFF on an impact level. If you say that the role of the judge is to vote for the team that solves the impacts, if we can engage in the impacts, then we do meet your Clash standard. On to the counter-interp. We think that plan focus is bad. We think that debate can shape our ethical subjectivities. We think that we think that you should evaluate the 1AC not as a policy, but as but as an object. We think that the question of debate is which model is best to create change. We think that that means that they don't get to weigh the impact scenario against the K if we prove that their scholarship is within neglects the larger machinations of violence. We think that it'll just create a serial policy failure, and our model is better for debaters to carefully curate the 1AC and become more ethical within debate. The counter-interp is that they must prove the epistemological and methodological justifications behind the Speech Act before getting to weigh the affirmative. We think that's fair because it applies the appropriate limits to the 1AC, but also makes the debate a more ethical activity. They also dropped the invisibility disad, which states how you can't get access to the perm because it fundamentally because it is an act of co-option of the necropolitical order onto abolitionist movements. Onto the impact defense. Their impact defense doesn't apply. First, necropolitics doesn't appear in Western frameworks because it has been nationalized through legal simulation. That's when I see Komarov. It focuses on studies that don't challenge or question the telegos of the empire, which means that their knowledge production can only legitimate U.S. interests. Third, the violence cannot be checked for the legal reforms like the AFF because the state is a part of the exception. It serves as an alibi for the liberal democracy to disavow its link to totalitarian governments. On to the alternative. The alternative is speak with death. Debate is constituted by varying modes of study. The affirmative mode of study is dependent upon analyzing specific points of contact within that political state. We perform the alternative through our link analysis, the process of interrogating the rhetorical artifact of the 1AC and epistemological underpinnings, then situating with historical legacies. Creates a space for doing alternative ways of politics. On to the perm, they don't get one. This is a methods debate about the praxis of law and subjectivities. Even if they prove that our methods are competitive, we've juxtaposed them because it's the only way to gain any antagonistic benefit from this activity. It's either do both or it's severance, which links back to the antagonistic education arguments. It's also incoherent. The very logic of the affirmative is something that we methodologically and epistemologically disagree with. You can't combine bad law and good law. They say that we can create the AF or create the NEG refusal or rejection in a way that still agrees with us, but they don't explain what that would look like, which means that they don't get access to the perm because they're mutually exclusive. The links prove this. I'll do that work now. We're going to go for the war link. The AF continues to use war as an impact when their use of the U.S. federal government is what causes war. Extend evidence 10 liberalism is the root cause of war. The government forces the question of whose lives are important. The government repeatedly hasn't helped those who need it most. It takes the advantage of their means and puts them into more harm, which causes war. And therefore, we have proven that our impacts outweigh. And I'll go ahead and go on to case. On to the first advantage. We think that war is inevitable. That's the war link. It completely the risk of a link completely turns any sort of impacts or offense that they get on case. On the second advantage, we think that like the necropolitical order is what causes like unions to have the need to fight back against the state. We think that like unions haven't been protected. We think that the state always acts in a way that like will be antagonistic to the worker, which is one of the machinations of the necropolitical order, which is why we're winning, because they haven't been able to address like our root cause or offer an alternative mode of like to explain these violences. Vote neg.
238. Starting.
Or just case critique apart. Anyone not good?
Think we're good? Yeah.
Top level is cases conceded in the critique. They dropped a voter, so the debate's kind of over, but I'll do the case. Recessions are inevitable. Weak job creation, wage stagnation ensure economic downturn that collapses the economy. Economic collapse causes exchange. It's a crisis accelerant that makes conflict inevitable, more dangerous, but the plan resolves it increases both job creation and wages while protecting state revenues that are key to emerging tech regulation. Those guarantee long-term adaptability and survival against existential risks like nuclear war, pandemics, and AI. One response coming out of the 2NR, and that war is inevitable, but wrong. Without an FJG, extinction is inevitable. We've made claims that the only way we can stop extinction through is the FJG. The claim we made is that the evidence is old and that Audantes at 23 is the most recent card in the round about how secular stagnation is happening now and that war isn't inevitable yet. But if we don't do a federal job guarantee, extinction will come now. It's conceded and all the warrants are conceded. They literally have one line of reasoning, no warrant. The case is conceded. It means that there's 100% risk of the impact. on this unions thing, they cross-supplied from the necropolitics shows that it's the root cause, but they haven't cited one piece of evidence from the 1AC that proves that we caused necropolitical violence this whole round. Nothing there. Unions, I didn't extend it as well. Necropolitics. Few ways you can vote AF. A, vague alter voting issue. Reject the team. They killed fairness by making terms impossible, and kills advocacy skills because they don't have to thoroughly defend a position. It's drop and means reject the K at least, so you can just put your ballot there and just literally put AF. And then B, they did not extend a unique link, and the link extended was very weak. That means that the critique is not linked to the AF. They've conceded 4 cards on framework that I'm going to very go in depth into, but then on the theory of power, they've not cited a single card in a round. We just have to win that the state can be good, and that's Andriotti 18 and League 16 from the 1AC that says we have to change the political system because Andriotti says that you can't change the state unless we actually are involved in the state, and that movements will fail and result in the same old system. Now, winning root cause, no, they forgot to say why the alt saw, which means it's try or die for the affirmative, and then at the 1AC is an object of study, but framework is why it's not even, but even if we defended our scholarship on the link debate and this scholarship neglects violence, it's wrong. It doesn't have any, they haven't cited one line that shows us neglecting the sites, and on the corrected decision-making process, no, we still get to weigh the out, which means that there's no link on the framework. In Jones 99, they actually didn't extend this, but they conceded the role of the judge to vote for the team that can solve their impact, and you can't vote for negative because there is no all in they dropped their impact in the 2-win-R, which means that it is try or die for the affirmative. Now, specifically proper framework, 1 interpretation, evaluate the consequences of the implementation of the plan against the status quo or competitive alternative, revert because debate is a game proven by speech time, wins, losses, trophies, etc. And the negatives, participation with it resumes the partisan within debate is a good thing. Now, on the counter interpretation, it's wrong, shifts the discussion away from the content of the affirmative, and the counter interpretation does not access any of their impacts and only triggers our impact. You should evaluate the consequences of the implementation of the plan against the status quo or competitive alternative. Now, plan focus is good. They've conceded that in the 2-win-R because we've said that none of their evidence is specific to a federal job guarantee control as tested, but it does prove that the K is non-unique or inevitable in the affirmative doesn't describe a corrective form of work. Now, the B clash, they responded to it, but they definitely didn't respond to advocacy skills. The AF is a form of role experimentation, allowing debaters to imagine alternative futures and engage in content micro-political experiments. This builds commonality, collective political engagement, necessary to fight fracturing. What we say learning is bad because advocating is bad, it turns the K. Andriotti 18 goes into advocacy skills because if we work on the political system, we can actually change it. Advocacy skills turns the entirety of the K, and it's the only standard I'm going for because if people cannot imagine alternative futures and engage in micro-political worlds, and it doesn't matter about education and clash because we cannot get to those places in the first place. E15 is also conceded. I've already done all of it. Go to thesis. The thesis is conceded. Basically, cross-apply all the you can cross-apply all the responses on the dissat.
The disability dissat.
Oh wait, where is it? Okay, whatever. I'll do the thesis first. Thesis A, battery power is inevitable and the AF's use of it is good. The critique allows the private sector to assert a more destructive form of control. Looker and Waddle are conceded. It basically takes out any risk in the dissat. It means that this debate, indivisibility dissat, we definitely didn't concede it. No, we aren't replacing the alternative, cooperating and doing both turns because the dissat, because it shows that we engage in the minorities. They talk about and through political discussions reforming the state. Now, the impact. Oops, they dropped their own impact. They didn't say the word social debt, but even then, the social debt impact is wrong. It stemmed from the 1AR that it never spills up and reaches the impact between you never access it. In stakeholder 13 is very vague. It never specifies how it happens. Now, there's... actually, I forgot the link. Yeah, one second, let me do it. On the link, nuclear reps and prolife impacts outweigh the K and flip activities. They say that they create violence, but 4-11 is clear about how there is a nuclear war, then more minorities are the ones who are affected the most. 4-11 is specific about how nuclear war weapons introduce existential questions about civilization, and there's the morality of unfair, and there's weapons. It talks about how weapons of survival of humanity is irrelevant to questions of the... Anything else?
An alternative.
Okay, fine. Alternative. I'm not sure if it was on purpose, but they also dropped the all. It's A, ballots don't change subjectivity. Other teams lost rounds on the King, so did they. And the B, the all fails because debate doesn't shape our subjectivity. All causes like parents, school, religion. I didn't even need to extend this. Okay, look, the vague alts is dropped. We're winning framework
and
super well.
Skills.
Advocacy skills. They might have extended 3 random impacts, but we have one super strong one. All right.
Good debate.
Good debate.
All right. Soham is the...
I'm the 2A.
Okay. And Blanche is the...
I'm the 2-1.